Hello, welcome back. Thank you, as always, for tuning in here. We're going to continue with the theme of the last conversation, which is the very last recording to appear here on this channel. And it's the idea of why does this course engender so much resistance? What is it about A Course in Miracles, a direct approach, that scares us so much that we want to keep it on the shelf unopened, hmm? To run away and hide in anything but this direct approach? What is it about this that we're so afraid of anyway? If you've ever wondered that, I invite you to stay tuned over the next few minutes here. Chapter 13 of the text goes into this in detail. In this progression through each section of the text, we're now at chapter 13, section 3. Aptly enough, this section is entitled The Fear of Redemption. Yeah, it's what it sounds like. As implausible as it may sound to us in the context of paying attention to our spiritual practice and actually watching videos like this, actually doing the work of forgiveness, it may sound odd for Jesus to repeat, and he does repeat, that we're afraid of love. We're afraid of awakening. We're afraid of redemption. Call it whatever you want to call it. Who and what we are, we're afraid of that. Terrified, actually. And it is not at all flattering to think about it. Yet, having the wish to awaken, to experience the peace of God and nothing else, we must look at all of this. I mean, you are probably wondering why we have to uncover everything, look at all of the hidden cornerstones, as the Course puts it, all of our little hidden, tucked away pockets of fear. Why? Why should we have to raise that to our awareness? Can't the Holy Spirit just do away with it for us? I mean, he's so powerful, right? Can't he just Obi-Wan Kenobi it, Jedi mind trick it, and say, this is gone? Can't he do it for us? Come on, man. Well, you may have wondered that. That is not going to happen. We're the ones that need to do this deep level work, which it is, ourselves. However scary it may seem at the moment, should you go ahead and do this, should you go ahead and choose to learn this course by putting it into practice in your daily life, the results are joyous. And in truth, there's nothing to fear, which we can all readily listen to. I mean, I can say that. Someone else can say, there's nothing to fear. But we have to take a look at all of this ourselves, raise it to our awareness, forgive and release it. Practicing this course, in other words, the path of awakening, is really nothing more than an uncovering. It is. It's an uncovering. We have in choosing to be separate, individual, self sustaining survival units, separate from God, and therefore separate from all of our brothers, 8 billion of us and counting here. And those are just the ones that we refer to as human beings. There are countless other life forms as well, all of them apparently separate from another life form. We're the ones that have chosen to see this. So we could choose not to see this. Your power of choice and decision is huge. Words really fail on that one. They really do, don't they? I mean, there are many different adjectives, but this is the power that's left to us here in our deluded and highly confused state of mind, the power of decision. The more you allow yourself to entertain ideas like the ones that appear in A Course in Miracles, the better, the more willing you'll be to set them aside. Again, and I often say this, but I have found this visual to be one of the most helpful for me in my own journey, and that is of a veil across our face. In choosing to see ourselves as an ego, as a separate, individual, self sustaining survival unit, we have drawn a veil over our face. This is metaphorically speaking, but it has been a very, very helpful visual image for me. So I offer it in hopes that you may get something very helpful from it as well. We've drawn a veil over our face, and what do we then see? Well, we see the inside of the veil. We don't see what's outside it on the other side. There are no sides in truth. But going with this analogy, we don't see things as they really are because we're looking at the interior of a piece of cloth. So, what we refer to as our spiritual practice is an uncovering. It is an undoing. It's a lifting. We lift one layer at a time. And as we keep going, we begin to see light through it, which hopefully will inspire you to lift more and get more general with your forgiveness rather than forgiving a simple single incident, which is mighty and powerful and very beneficial. We begin to forgive everything in broad brush strokes, quantum brush strokes, space, time, the ego, the dream, and you, the dreamer. Forgive the dream. It's coming from you, not at you. You could choose to set it aside. You could choose to do that right now. So the Holy Spirit doesn't just lift the veil and rip it off for us for a couple of reasons. Number one, we just talked about, we've got to do the work ourselves. We've got to have the experience of lifting the veil ourselves. It's very, very important that we don't have it handed to us on a silver platter. We've got to do our part. The other reason why the Holy Spirit doesn't just rip the veil off is that that may terrify you. It may well. It may well terrify you because we're afraid of love. We're afraid of love. We're afraid of the light. So, the Holy Spirit, being loving and kind, isn't going to throw you off an existential cliff into a state of panic by removing the veil for you. That would be most unkind in almost all circumstances. Because we all appear to be here because of this fear. We show up looking something like this because there is a fear deep down of love, and we want to run and hide from it. It's, again, not flattering in any way, but we must look at it. We're just so perplexed and confused and afraid that we want to keep the separation deep down. This explains people's behavior in life, doesn't it? Wanting to keep the separation. This explains the reason why people are drawn to a direct approach, like A Course in Miracles, and want to run from it, want to get away from the mind. How can you do that? You can't. But it explains it. We're really afraid of our own liberation, our own being. It's a confused state indeed. And again, it's not flattering, but when we really formulate the wish to awaken and answer our inner teacher's call, which you most definitely have, for sure, then we do need to look at it. Now, here's the thing, you're not looking at this alone. You are not alone. Our inner teacher is always with us, is our inner teacher. The Holy Spirit is part of your mind. Jesus is part of your mind. He's the Holy Spirit. You can call the Holy Spirit whatever you want, by the way. You can call it by multiple names as your team or your counsel or your guides, whatever you wish. Our inner teacher is part of our mind that knows the truth, that will look past all of the illusions that we've made and will show us how to set them aside if only we allow him to do so. And he always does so lovingly and will always respond to your slightest call, even if it's just a fraction of a second of asking for help. And that's enough. You'll be set on the path and will never be able to go back, nor would you want to. So we would do well to recognize that we're not alone. We have the help and the loving guidance of our inner teacher. And here's the deal. Here's why we're all of us, and I'm talking all of us, are interested in spirituality. I mean, there's a lot of other content out there on social media, isn't there? I mean, obviously. I think this is the largest social media platform in the world, which makes sense. So let's use it to share love. Hmm? That's what's going on. What's going on right now? It's important that we recognize that we're not alone, that we have guidance and help on the path. And the Holy Spirit will rush in and help. All he needs is the slightest invitation. So the more you issue that invitation, the better. Because what we really deep down all want, why we're interested in spirituality, is we know who we are. And our burning love for God is much stronger than our fear of awakening. It is. It's so much stronger. So, despite our mad wanderings, we're always drawn back, aren't we? I mean, you're drawn back. It's quite common for people to begin A Course in Miracles, get part of the way through it, and put it down and come back to it later. I mean, if that's the case, no problem, right? What matters is you're interested in this material right now. That's what matters. Whatever the past with this material has been, and maybe you're just looking at this for the first time thinking, oh my God, this is some serious stuff. You deserve nothing less. Because deep down, we all want the peace of God and nothing else. Why, can I say? And nothing else. There is nothing else. So, in a manner of speaking, here on the path in this world, we want to go home. And this burning love for God is, I mean, it's beyond words. And it's much more powerful than the illusions, than the layers that we've thrown across our face, than the veil. It's much more powerful than that. It's not in opposition to that either. There are no opponents because this power, this love is perfect oneness in which everyone's included. No exceptions. One equals one. We know this deep down, so we continue to come back to spirituality. And actually, it does not make any difference whether you come back to this course or not. Though I hope that you may. It doesn't really matter what you choose to do here because you've heard the call of our inner teacher to awaken and you've answered it. And you could adopt whatever spiritual tradition or none at all that you want to adopt. Ultimately, we all come back to the very same process that is setting the ego aside, setting the veil aside and lifting it, removing the barriers to our awareness of who we are, which yearns for us to set it free. It's already completely free as it is, but we simply need to make ourselves aware of it. We need to make ourselves aware of who and what we really are and where we are. This love, boundless joy, is much stronger than our small, limited sense of individuality. I mean, think of it by definition. Individual, that's a limitation because it naturally implies that one individual is set apart from other individuals. That is simply not the case. And let's all be very, very glad about that. You have help, you have support, love, and guidance along the way. It may seem scary at times. That's part of the journey. I invite you to call on your inner teacher for guidance, for help. And you're more than welcome to call on other people for help. There are those of us here that appear in the world, like this pixelated image on your screen, that are happy to answer questions should you have them. And this is a good forum for doing that. It's a safe forum and a good forum for having a discussion, a deep level, as deep as you want to go with it. I mean, this course is, I repeat, a direct approach, cuts right to the chase. There is no world. So, what does that mean? There is only perfect oneness, the peace of God, God, in other words. Well, let that sink in. Yeah. To the extent that you have questions, I'm more than happy to answer them, or even if you wish to just chime in the comments and say hello, I'd be happy to hear from you. So please go ahead and do that if you're so inclined. Also, if you have not yet subscribed, I'd love to have you do this. There's a reason that you're watching this video or these series of videos So let me just point out the subscription icon here. That's the arrow in the corner of your screen. Click that, and you'll be invited to join us. So please go ahead and do that. There are a number of videos that appear each week, and to those of you who have subscribed, you're more than welcome also to turn on the notifications. That's that bell icon to be notified of whenever a new video drops, which is several times each week. All right. So, well, nobody ever said that this was shallow stuff. It's definitely not. Again, you deserve nothing less than a direct approach. We all deserve nothing less than truth. We're the ones that have obscured our awareness of it. So let's remove the blockages, shall we? All right. Please join me. I'll see you all soon.